Hello and welcome to Take Time. I am your host Patrick Marlett, and let's talk about what's inside this box. I'm actually very excited about this unboxing today because it is the first time I'll be working with Christopher Ward. Their team sent over their new C65 Trident Bronze limited edition with the hand-wound version of the SH21. This is just a sample of the new limited edition range. There's only 150 pieces in total. They're beautiful 41mm divers that are essentially reimagined versions of their popular C65 Trident series dive watch. The main difference here being a few aesthetic changes, the bronze casing, as well as the major improvement of movement with the SH21, which is a chronometer certified in-house movement. Now, everything on the tech sheet they sent me regarding this watch has got me excited. It looks to be the perfect everyday diver, and we'll soon find out. I am just too anxious to wait any longer to get to unboxing. Of course, this is just part one, our unboxing and first impression. Do follow the channel to catch up with our part two video, our in-depth review on the watch after a week in the life. So without further ado, let's jump into our unboxing. Now, in honor of our unboxing today, because the item in question is a Christopher Ward, I'm wearing my own Trident Pro for two reasons. I want to compare the scales of these two watches to one another, as well as show off what their two bronze dive watch offerings have in common and what they don't have in common. But let's go ahead and get this basic part out of the way. Box packaging is quite the same as my last two Christopher Wards. If you guys remember, I not only own this Trident Pro, but I also owned a 595 Malvern for a few. The experience is exactly the same. The packaging is quite the same as well. Let me just turn this up so you can see what I'm trying to show you. Same little bit of text up top telling you enjoy your new Christopher Ward. And of course, the main item on the inside. Now, unfortunately, I don't get to keep this one, so I'm going to keep the packaging off to the side so I can ship it back. I have just about a week to spend with the watch, so of course, like all of our part one videos, if you guys have any questions about the item in hand, Tim, I'm sorry, I didn't even have to use this today. If you have any questions about the watch in hand, feel free to send them in the comments section so I can answer them in our part two video. You know what, I don't remember there being a pull tab on these before. I'll have to check my box, but ooh. Okay, so some things have changed. I didn't receive a wooden box like this with my previous units. Let me just go ahead, pull this out. Why don't we take a look at some of the paperwork down here first. Now, this is just a sample model, but I'm assuming this is all consumer packaging. We have our owner's handbook. Looks like a little thank you note. There's the watch we'll be taking in today. They're talking about the inspiration behind it. I'm seeing notes about the number of units being made. Let's see here. Really, really beautiful engraving on the back. I'm excited to see this. I'm sure you guys are too. So why don't we skip past this? This looks like a note for me. I'll put that off to the side. And yeah. That's it. That's what's in the box, aside from the watch. Very, very cool. Extremely reminiscent of my previous watches. All right, let's get this bad boy into frame so we can start taking it in. All right, guys, the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's take in the new C65 Trident Bronze SH21. All right, where to begin? I am completely taken aback by how gorgeous this watch is. Now, just so you guys know, I left on the case back sticker as this will be returned to Christopher Ward as soon as I'm done with it, but I did take off the rest of the wrapping so we can look at the watch in its entirety. Alright, first things first, why don't we start by getting our movement wound, and we can see that 6 o'clock sub-dial is now beating. Now, it should be beating at 28,800 vibrations per hour, which should look very smooth to our eyes, as that sub-dial is so much smaller than your regular seconds hand, central seconds hand. Now, the first thing I noticed when taking in this watch is the date display. I know that sounds funny, but I love the font choice they went with that 3 o'clock window. The intersecting line on the 7, it just looks really good. And if I'm not mistaken, it should be the same font that's featured on the dial with the 12, but that one looks very similar. So it's nice they matched those two fonts up. Our C65 here features a 120 click bezel that has really excellent action and nice sound to it as well, if you can hear that on my microphone. It's very deliberate, just like my Trident Pro actually. Same sort of fit and feel, which is a good thing. Now, in case you guys were wondering, no, the crown over at the 3 o'clock position does not screw into the chassis. However, it still boasts 150 meters of water resistance, as can be seen over by the 3 o'clock. The matte finishing of the dial is absolutely stunning in person, and it's a lovely contrast to the, I believe they labeled it as an azure subdial finish. It's basically your sun ray finish, but in person, it's really beautiful to see those two contrast one another. Similar to our Trident Pro in bronze, we have old radium superluminova on the indexes and hands. And speaking of those hands, there's such a beautiful attention to detail given to them. If you can see down the center, there is brushing, and just off to the sides, the blades of those hands are high polished. Not to mention the proportions of our handset are just perfect. The hour hand barely extends to touch those hour markers, while our minute hand just brushes our minute track. Now, for those who dislike the new location of the Christopher Ward text on the dial, I have to say they've perfected the look here with the C65 SH21. By putting all the other pertinent information off to the right-hand side, just opposite the Christopher Ward text, it balances out the dial in a really pleasing way. Not to mention there is a 6 o'clock subdial with an embossed Twin Flags logo at the top, so everything is nice and equal on opposing sides. The bezel itself is manufactured with a beautiful coin edge, and the sides of the case are a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces. This is certainly some of the best handiwork I've seen from Christopher Ward. The level of craftsmanship here is just stellar. The bronze used in the construction of our C65 here is actually the same alloy as that used in our Trident Pro here, so you can expect it to patina in much the same way. That bronze being CUSN6, so still a nice marine grade bronze material. Up top we have a boxed sapphire crystal, and just behind a stainless steel case back. And you know what? I bet we can find a way to replace this sticker. Why don't we take in that beautiful engraving on the case back? Something that Christopher Ward is renowned for these days is their case back engraving, so it would have been a shame not to have taken it in. And just like my Trident Pro, it's absolutely stunning. The level of depth to the engraving, how far the Trident protrudes off the back of the case, that's going to leave a nice indent in the wrist, but I don't think any of us would mind. It's absolutely stunning to look at. Now, while we're back here, you'll notice the 22mm lug width with our webbed canvas strap, and this particular model comes with either the webbed canvas, a leather strap option, or rubber strap option of your choice. Now, before I leave you guys, I'm going to provide you all with a wrist shot of our C65 bronze, and of course a nice side-by-side comparison of this watch and our Trident Pro, just to give you an idea of the proportions between these two watches. Of course, I'm going to go over all those dimensions in our part 2 video, so hang tight for that. And I'm just going to leave this guy off to the side for now. And here's the C65 Trident Bronze on a 7¼ inch wrist. It's truly classic in both design and fit. In case you guys are wondering, it measures 47.1 millimeters from lug end to lug end, so a really great size. And this being a hand-wound movement, it has a much lower profile to the wrist than your typical automatic diver, which is the appeal of the C65 series. This watch brings everything back to the table that the original C65 offered, but with an improved movement, a bronze case, and a wonderfully balanced dial. Now for a little side-by-side comparison, I just want to put my Trident Pro in bronze up next to this watch so you can see the difference in dimensions, this being a 41mm diameter case and this being just 38. You'll also notice that the Trident Pro bronze is a lot thicker, though it boasts 600 meters of water resistance rating, so you'd come to expect that. However, it does have the characteristic lines of the Trident series. You can tell that these are both Christopher Ward's at a glance. I am extremely excited to share my opinions on the new C65 Trident bronze here on the channel. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below before our part 2 review airs. Once again, I'd like to thank the Christopher Ward team for sending this watch my way. It's truly stunning. You guys are doing progressively better and better work. It's why I buy your watches and why I talk about them on the show. So thanks again for sending this my way so I can experience it and share that experience with my audience here. Speaking of gang, if you don't follow me over on Instagram, you should be, because I'm going to be sharing a bunch of high resolution images of this watch over there. I'm actually attending a watch meetup in just a few, and I'll be bringing this by to share with the gang. So expect to see a bunch of images of this watch flooding Instagram. Now, if you found this video enlightening or in the least entertaining, feel free to hit that like button. It looks a little something like this guy. If you have friends, forums, or groups that are interested in the C65 Trident bronze, well, feel free to share this video with them so they can get another consumer's opinion on the watch. Also, if you're new to the channel, well, welcome. I do videos like this 2 or more times a week, so if watch content is your thing, feel free to join in by slamming that subscribe button. If you want to see my content regularly as it airs, you can hit the bell icon just next to that. Again, my name is Patrick Marlette, and thank you for the time.